going on, guys? Killer6 back with my flak build for level 65 Mayhem 10, and I know that you guys have been asking for this for a little while, so apologies for not getting it to you sooner. I actually recorded this entire thing the other day, had it all done, dropped it into Adobe Premiere, and realized I had my microphone turned off the whole time. That was a bonehead play. Anyhow, so this is the build. At any point in time, if you want to skip to any particular thing, you can do that down at the underbar of the video player and just skip to each chapter if you want, or you can watch the whole thing all the way through. Obviously, there will be timestamps down in the description below, and I usually put it as the pinned comment as well in case you want to just like jump into there, click on the section that you want, and it'll jump you forward into the video to that point if you want to. All right, so what does this build do? This is a kind of a jack of all trades flak, man. This thing can do it all. If you want to do rack attack, you're set up for it. If you want to do fadeaway flak, you're set up for it. If you want to do gamma flak, you're set up for it. I mean, you saw it all with the intro. On the crystals, I can switch to gamma and basically send my pet off to the side, put on the red fang class mod, and I can just run the crystals without anybody even coming to me. You saw me, I was probably like dancing or whatever. Obviously, fadeaway is going to be like your boss killing thing, but what I really like to do for mobbing, even though fadeaway is great for mobbing, and even gamma is good for mobbing, the way this build is set up, but I love to do rack attack for the mobbing section of things. And in addition to rack attack, I like to put on this Nova burner. Now, if you don't know, Nova shields, spike shields, all those things got a Mayhem buff recently, so this thing actually does on level damage now for the first time in forever, so it's really cool. Let's start off by going over the weapons that I like to use with this build. First and foremost, the light show. The light show is such a good gun. It's great on every Vault Hunter, obviously, but with flak and being able to hit crits with body shots, this thing just absolutely shreds enemies up. This isn't even really an ideal light show. Preferably, you're going to want to get yourself a consecutive hits one or a action skill end next to mags kind of deal. But what I got is an action skill end, 125% more weapon damage to badass named and boss enemies for a short time. This thing's still going to shred up mobs, so I don't really worry too much about that. But still, that's what we got there. I literally just got this phase puncher. You might even saw it drop in the footage before the video started when I killed Verminigula. I got this thing to drop, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put it on the build, why not? But the phase puncher is so good right now on every single Vault Hunter, and this one's a consecutive hit, so it's just gonna stack up that damage really good. Got a couple different monarchs. We've actually got multiple monarchs. Now, mostly I just use 3 different monarchs. Right now, I like to rock this vicious monarch that's a ×8, and it's got action skill active weapon damage increased by 200%. What you want to use this one for is when you first go into fadeaway, you want to have that gun equipped, and you go into fadeaway and you just murder things, because if you go into fadeaway and then switch to this weapon, that 200% action skill active damage will not apply. You have to have this thing in your hands when you activate your action skill. The other time that I like to use that is when I rock the gamma build. I do not like to use that one when I do the rack attack though, and the reason is once you send out the rack, your action skill active is no longer applied, so it won't really work too well for that. The other ones that I like to use are action skill end. So basically, once I use this one, as soon as my action skill ends, I swap over to this monarch, which will give me action skill and next to mags corrosive damage. Obviously, this is great for both of the takedowns that we have, and it's good for a lot of other things as well. The other ones that I have, I like to use this fire one that's a ×4, so not quite as high a damage, but it's still very good. And this one, action skill and next to mags shock damage. Then I've got this one that's another ×8. This one is after issuing an attack command, you get 30% lifesteal for a short time. It's very rare that I use that one, but it's on here for you. And then finally, we got a ×8 that is action skill end, 125% more weapon damage to badass named and boss enemies for a short time. In terms of other weapons that I like to use on this build, one of my favorite things to use on this build is the Hellwalker. Oh my god, I love the Hellwalker so much. I've got 2 on here. Now this one's really not ideal because it's next to mags and 100% bonus additional radiation damage. And in case you don't know, the mag on the Hellwalker is you shoot it, then you reload. So you're not going to get a whole lot out of that, but I did include this one, which I absolutely love when I do fadeaway. Speed load and Hellwalker. This one is action skill active weapon damage increased by 200%. Also on here, we've got a variety of flippers. We've also got the new shotgun from DLC 4, the redundant convergence. This one's shock and it's ×8. Got a couple different lovable rogues. One's action skill active and the other one's action skill end. Like I explained earlier, different situations call for different things. I do have this other light show. This one's not as good. This one is cryo. In terms of other stuff, we got a blood starved beast. Now this one's only ×2. I do not have a good ×3 on my flak one, though does have radiation damage and its action skill active weapon damage. So go into fadeaway, proc gamma burst, either one of those two, you're gonna get a lot of damage out of this thing. Up next, we got a corrosive blood starved beast, and this one also ×2. We got some flippers for you. So next 2 mags bonus 100% shock damage. This one has shock and corrosive on it. Then we got this one with shock and cryo on it, and next 2 mags bonus incendiary. We got this one with radiation. This one is probably the best all around though, because it's radiation, it's fire, and it's consecutive hits damage. Then we also have a cost-effective OPQ, and just like in every video, I have to show you guys this because everybody thinks that the OPQ is dead, and it's not. It's still wrecks face, even though it's level 57. So there you go. OPQ alive and well. All right, so and then of course we got a Major Kong. I do not like this rocket launcher, but there's a lot of people do, so I've thrown it on the build in case you want to play around with it. All right, with that, let's show you guys what this can do real quick. We'll head over, we'll kill Trant, we'll have a little bit of fun with this thing. So with rack attack, obviously you just send out your rack. If you're using the Nova burner shield like I've got on here, when the shield breaks, you're going to get a Nova, or when you pop your action skill, you're going to get a Nova. And Nova, there we go. As you can see, the Novas do a lot of damage. The reason I use the Scorcher Spider Ant, in case you guys didn't see, he can absolutely tear people up. He got nerfed a little bit a while back, but he's still extremely strong. So highly recommend doing the Scorcher Spider Ant. He will be a great ally to you. All right, so Nova burner, boom, massive amount of damage from that. We're rocking a face puncher at the moment. This is not normally what I use with this build, but I wanted to test it out and I figured why not do it live. So as you see, this thing just absolutely tears people up. All right, with that, let's switch over to the Hellwalker so you can see some real fun stuff, dude. I love the Hellwalker. And I tell you what, we'll switch over to fadeaway so you guys can get a really good idea of how this works. So we're gonna fade away, murder, murder, murder. Everybody's dying. And then the cool thing is you come out of fadeaway, and if you hit a bunch of critical shots, then you can get your action skill back immediately. So we kill that guy. We're already down to 3 seconds on our timer, and we got our action skill back. We're back into fadeaway. Really quick to get your action skill back. Very high damage. Hellwalker is so much freaking fun, dude. Let's show off the Monarch. So this one is action skill active. Like I said, you want to make sure you go into bipod mode, pop your action skill, hit somebody with some piss grenade, and then just shred everything in sight. And the cool thing about the Monarch is, you know how we were getting our action skill cooldown back by hitting crits a minute ago? This thing will get you the crits super freaking fast. So as you can see, we're already back in our action skill, and those guys are dead. That guy's dead. Everybody's dead. I'll go ahead and explain a couple other things real quick. So this build is very versatile. I know that Flak is considered the squishiest of all the Vault Hunters, but check this out. If we switch to Gamma, switch the action skill to Gamma, switch your class mod to the Red Fang. Now watch what happens here. I'm going to summon in my action skill. Like right now they're targeting me, right? Watch this. I summon in my action skill, and all of a sudden, it's like I don't exist. Like, even though this guy came over here, he's going to completely ignore me. I can literally stand right beside this guy, and he's going to pretend like I don't exist. And meanwhile, my pet's over here just murdering everything. It's really, really good for survivability. And I showed this off when I did my previous Gamma Flak build. This one, you get all the perks of it without going so far down the tree. Now, Barbaric Yelp is a great skill and it gives you pet bonuses. That's nice and all, but do I want to go all the way down that blue tree just for that? No, not at all. So this allows you to capstone the 2 most powerful trees for Flak while still utilizing the benefits of Gamma Burst. It's very, very good in that regard. All right, so with that, let's switch back over to... All right, so let's jump back into Fadeaway now and go kill Trant. Now, just like with all the other characters, you can switch your shield and your gear depending on what you're about to do, obviously. So for Trant, for example, we're going to switch to this transformer, not because the transformer is necessarily a good choice versus Trant, but because of the action skill and anointment on the transformer, which gives me shock damage for 10 seconds. Now, conversely, I can put on this plus ultra, which will give me double capacity and radiation damage. So actually, let's do that. And then for the piss grenade, you got piss grenades in a variety of different flavors here. So you got shock, incendiary, cryo, corrosive, and radiation. Obviously, you don't want to do double radiation for your action skill in because they do not stack. So what you want to do is you want to switch this one to either shock or just leave it on the grenade thrown action skill weapon and grenade damage increased by 25% for 6 seconds. And what that's going to do is as soon as you throw it, you're going to get all those boosts. And then we're going to switch back over to our stack bot. Now, the cool thing about the stack bot right here is it's got +3 in Fast and Furious, which is 50% gun damage, 60% pet damage, and 20% movement speed. Those are all perks while you're above half health. So we're gonna run over here, kill Trant, and just show you just how strong this really is. Put on our bipod mode, go into fadeaway, hit him with the piss, and he's dead. That's how good this build is. Man, I love it. I absolutely love it. You will melt everything in the game. You won't have any trouble doing any of the content in the game. This build is so much freaking fun. All right, so now that we've covered all the basics, let's cover everything else. In terms of the shields, like I said, we've got the Plus Ultra. The good thing about the Plus Ultra is it works kind of like the Transformer. You can absorb some ammo. It's only a 25% chance versus the 40% on the Transformer, but still very good. And it gives you action skill cooldown by 30% for several seconds. And the really good thing about it is it doubles your health. So you guys remember this skill that I was talking about, Fast and the Furious? When you're above half health, you get all those extra damage bursts. Well, that's amazing on this flak build, because with the Plus Ultra and using that skill, you're going to keep that health above half almost all the time. All right, in terms of the other shields, we got another Plus Ultra, and just obviously check your action skill and anointments when you switch between these. The Nova Burner, again, this is great for when you're doing rack attack, because every time you send out a rack, you're going to trigger one of those Novas and do 81,254 damage, but it's scaled to Mayhem 10, so it's going to be a lot higher than that. Also got Transformers in Corrosive, Incendiary, Radiation, and Shock for the action skill and elements. And if you need even further help with staying alive, let me show you what this guy can do. This is the stopgap with action skill start. Activate any effects that trigger on shield, fill, or break. Now you can put this on and you can run this with any of the 3 action skills. You can do it with racks, you can do it with the fadeaway, or you can do it with gamma. Now what's going to happen is anytime you pop your action skill, and I'll tell you what, let's run out here and I'll show you. And what we're going to do is we're going to let them break our shield, and you're going to get the initial procking of the stopgap. All right, so right now for 5 seconds I'm invincible, and then once that time runs out and they start shooting me again, I can pop my action skill and I'm going to be invincible again. Look, I can stand here and take these bullets. I can let them punch me. It doesn't matter. All right. Now, what makes this so good on fadeaway is, again, you shoot an enemy, you hit those crits, and that's going to give you your action skill cooldown back even faster, right? So as soon as you get your action skill cooldown back, guess what? You pop that action skill again, and now you're invincible for another 5 seconds. So no matter what is out here, it's not going to be able to hurt you for 5 seconds. And then hopefully by that point your shield's recharged, and then when it breaks again, that's another 5 seconds of invincibility. It's so good. It almost feels like cheating. It really does, but it's just, I mean, you're just taking advantage of the nature of the shield and the anointment. That said, I will almost always be rocking the Plus Ultra on this build, with the occasional stopgap if I have some situations where I have some issues. In terms of the class mods, all right, this is where it is important to pay attention to what you have on at any particular time. So the stack bot is my go-to. This is like the one that I like to use for basically almost everything. Mobbing, bossing, it doesn't matter. I love using this thing. Whenever you score a critical hit, you gain increased weapon damage until you don't score a critical hit. Flak using Megavore obviously scores critical hits a lot on bodies, plus we're combining it with the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Otherwise though, if you want to do like a pet build, if you just want to send your pet out and watch it do damage, switch to this thing. I just got this thing earlier today. It's a +5 to Barbaric Yalp. 20% pet damage has just been added to this thing with a recent patch. This thing also has assault rifle damage, so if you're rocking these Monarchs, then you're going to do a lot of damage with that. It also has pistol damage, so if you're using your light show, then you get extra damage with that as well. We got Cosmic Stalker. This is probably one of the best all-around mobbing class mods. This one increases your hunt skill power by 25%. And if you don't know what your hunt skills are, you can look on your card and it'll say that it's a hunter kill skill. So look for those skills, and that way you'll know what it boosts. All right, up next we got the Bounty Hunter. This is one of the best ones for bossing generally. The Bounty Hunter will give you a 3% chance to activate any purchased hunt kill skill when dealing gun damage. You're going to deal a lot of gun damage with this build. Bosses are treated as humans, beasts, and robotics for your hunt skills. On certain skills like this one, as you can see, you get robot bonuses, human bonus, and beast bonuses. So it'll treat bosses that same way depending on what type of enemy they are, to give you extra bonuses when you fight them. We also got the Peregrine. If you don't know about the Peregrine, this thing is the one that you see people use in conjunction with the Fish Slap Grenade to do massive amounts of damage with a rack attack build. So I've included it on here. I don't find it to be that good myself. So I mean, it can be used to like do massive amounts of damage, but there's gonna be a lot of newer players, maybe you you watching right now have never played the game before and you weren't here for the cartel event, so you can't get a fish slap, so it does you no good. This thing just isn't that great without the fish slap. We covered the red fang. Again, you're going to want to use this when you do the gamma build, and this allows you to have your pet go out there and take all the aggro, like literally all the aggro of all the enemies on the battlefield, and you can shoot them in the backs while they're, you know, dealing with your pet, and it's a beautiful skill and it works really well. And again, this is great for the crystals when you do the Guardian Takedown. All right, so let's go into the artifacts. We've got the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. This thing is so good. Whenever you get consecutive hits, it gains a 1% increased damage per stack up to 15 times, so that's 15%. And then at maximum stacks, you had an additional 90% damage. So that's 105% damage that you will be doing when you get maximum stacks. And it's really easy to get maximum stacks. And if you're throwing grenades or doing any kind of DOT damage, then you're going to keep that effect applied. This thing has mag size and fire rate, so it's great for literally everything that I'm rocking here. In addition to that, though, we do have the Atom Bomb rocket boots. If you switch over to the Gamma build and you want to, you can switch over to this and get that extra radiation damage. We also have a Snowdrift Deathless in case you want to do a URAD build. If you have your own weapons, you get a bunch of URAD stuff, which is unhealthy radiation damage is what it's called. Whenever you're under half health, you do additional radiation damage with specific anointments. So if you want to do that, this thing would work really well for that, plus gives you the speed of the Snowdrift. And then we've got the ultra cool Cut Purse launch pad. Now what's good about the Cut Purse launch pad? Let's go find some enemies. So now with the Cut Purse launch pad on, we just jump and slam, and this sends out rockets, and well, when they actually come down and hit people, there you go. As you can see, we're now back up to 1620 on our ammo count. So that's a great way to get free ammo. All you got to do is jump and slam. And this will work for any of the weapons that you have equipped, but what you have to do, you have to have that gun in your hand. So for example, if I need shotgun ammo, boom, there you go, back to full ammo. And usually one slam with a bunch of rockets hitting takes care of all the ammo needs that you have. So let's cover the grenades. So mostly, like I said, I use piss grenades. The piss grenade is great because it debuffs enemies and allows you to do 20% extra damage to them for 6 seconds. You combine that with the anointment on this piss grenade that I usually keep equipped, and for the next 6 seconds on this, you get an additional 25% weapon, grenade, and action skill damage. So that's a lot of extra damage you're going to be doing to enemies if you just throw a piss grenade at them. So you got to get in the habit of throwing those every so often. All right, with that, let's cover the skill tree. So the skill trees are pretty self-explanatory because Flak has particular skills that are great and some other skills that aren't so great. And let's start with the green tree, the fadeaway tree. So anytime I'm rocking fadeaway, almost anytime, I like to use Gorillas in the Mist because your fadeaway no longer ends after shooting 3 shots. You do lose a little bit of critical hit damage and your fadeaway duration is slightly reduced, but it no longer ends after 3 shots. And the reason that's important is because we're using a lot of Monarchs, light shows, things like that. The 3 shots are like done in a second, you know what I mean? So you want to keep your action skill going as long as possible. And the 25% critical hit damage is no big deal. You're going to still shred everything in sight. You can do Not My Circus if you want to. This will work kind of like what the Red Fang does. It allows your pet to taunt enemies and distract them. If you want to do that, you can. I like to usually use Unblinking Eye. This one gives me successive hits on the same target, increase my critical damage per hit, and it resets every 3 hits, and it's 75% damage per hit. This thing is really ridiculously strong. In terms of the other skills in the green tree, Self-Repairing System. This gives you a little bit of health. You got Furious Attack. It's a hunter skill. So after you shoot an enemy, you gain a stack of Furious Attack. For each stack of that, you get gun damage, and your pet gets increased damage per stack, and they decay after a few seconds. We got a couple points in all my BFFs. This gives my pet a little bit of healing. We got Lick the Wounds. This allows my pet to heal me. We got Turn, Tail, and Run. Whenever I'm moving, I'm regenerating health, and I'm getting damage reduction. Whenever I'm holding still, I'm going to get gun damage and fire rate. So this is great for any situation where you're doing the Monarch versus an enemy that doesn't move a lot. Up next, we got Hidden Machine. This kind of works in tandem with Not My Circus and obviously the Red Fang. Whenever an enemy has no target or is attacking a different target, you deal increased damage against them. Up next, we got the Fast and the Furious. This is the one that I was talking about earlier. Whenever you're above half health, and again, we're boosting our health, and we've got the boost to this thing with our class mod. We're going to get gun damage, pet damage, and movement speed. It's a very great skill. Up next, Raging Recover. This is a little bit more health regeneration. And then Power Inside. This one gives you increased damage when you activate your action skill. This works with all 3 of the action skills, obviously. to give you extra damage, and it lasts for 15 seconds. Up next, the blue tree. Now this one is kind of sparse, as you might notice, but we couldn't, you know, obviously we can't capstone every single tree, but on this one we've covered the most important skills. 3 points here gives you increased gun damage and action skill duration, 12% gun damage, 45% action skill duration. You do have a couple points here in ferocity for a little bit of extra pet damage. We got 1 point in he bites and 3 points in frenzy, and these two go hand in hand. So whenever your pet takes some damage, the pet returns some of that damage to the attacker, and that counts as pet damage done. And the reason that's important is because of frenzy. Whenever your pet deals some damage, you and your pet gain a stack of frenzy, and each stack of frenzy increases damage. And then finally, the hunter tree. In this tree, obviously whenever we do rack attack, I like to do the Falconer's Feast, which gives us health restoration 7% when it hits an enemy, and we got flock and load, and this gives you 2 additional rack. Now you can also do rack open a cold one in place of the Falconer's Feast if you want. If you're not having any trouble with healing, then obviously go with that. And then we got rack accelerate down here, which gives increased cooldown rate on your rack, and you gain an additional charge. So that's very good too. It allows you to spam those a little more often. So one thing you could do is you could switch to this and this if you would like, but a lot of times I'll just keep this on just to make sure I'm staying healed up, because a lot of times when I'm doing rack attack, I'm like right in the heat of battle, so I'm going to need a little bit more healing. We got 3 points and leave no trace. Whenever you score a critical hit, there's a chance for ammo to be returned to your magazine. You're going to be hitting crits all the time. A 36% chance to get ammo right back into your mag is exceptional. Got Interplanetary Stalker. This is a hunter kill skill. Whenever you kill an enemy, you gain a stack of Interplanetary Stalker. For each stack Interplanetary Stalker, you and your pet gain a bonus to all damage dealt. So very strong skill there as well. We got points in Hunter's Eye, 4 points there. We got head count. Now this is one of the more important skills for Flak. Whenever you score a critical hit, there is a chance that your action skill cooldown is reduced. We talked about this earlier and how it works with all of your action skills. So even if you're doing Gamma, whenever your Gamma runs out and then all the enemies are like, oh crap, we're supposed to be focusing on Flak, shoot somebody a bunch of times with a Monarch and you're going to have your action skill back instantly because of this thing, and then that allows you to pop Gamma again, which will then distract the enemies once again and allow you to do whatever you want to do. Also exceptional for fadeaway, obviously, because you know you'll wreck everybody's face and then shoot somebody for a few seconds and then your action skills back and then you go into fadeaway again. Up next we got big game. Flak's hunter skills become much more effective and have a longer duration, so this increases the duration by 100% and increases the effects by 30%. So that means all of these skills that are hunter kill skills are going to get increased effect and duration. Speaking of the most dangerous game, hunter kill skill, whenever you kill a badass or stronger enemy, which when you're in Mayhem 10, that's going to happen a lot. You're going to be killing lots of badasses. You're going to get increased critical hit damage, gun damage, and handling for a long time. And long time is not a joke. It's 2 minutes of critical hit damage, gun damage, and handling. And your pet receives increased damage for a long time as well. Up next, we got Grim Harvest. You get increased gun damage and action skill damage. Your pet gains increased damage as well. This one's just flat damage all the time. Up next, we got Galactic Shadow. Single point here, increased crit damage, and enemies are less likely to attack them. So again, that plays into the whole Red Fang and Hidden Machine skills, and even the Not My Circus. And then finally, the capstone is Megavore. You gain a chance to score a critical hit against any part of an enemy's body with your weapons. And this means that if you're spamming a bunch of bullets like we will be with the Monarch, with the Light Show, with the Hellwalker, then you have an increased chance for any of those things to hit for crits, and it's more damage. Here is my Guardian rank in case you want to see. We have gone all the way down through here, so we are taking advantage of all the Guardian rank skills. You can see my stats over on the side. And then in terms of the modifiers that I like to use, I use Speed Demon, Healy Avenger, Drone Ranger, and Post Mortem. Healy Avenger and Drone Ranger are great ways for you to get second wins in case you need them. Healy Avenger is just the heart that floats around. It's real easy to kill and keep enemies from getting their full health back. Drone Ranger is real easy to take out for a second win as well. Speed Demon is self-explanatory. Whenever you get a kill, you can start running fast as hell. And you can stack that 3 times, so you can get going really fast sometimes. Post Mortem, obviously, that's the death skulls. If you don't like that, obviously you do buddy system or whatever is comfortable to you, but I find that the death skulls along with Speed Demon makes it so that I can get out of most situations without much trouble. So like I said, this thing can do it all, dude. Like you can do rack attack, you can do fade away, you can do gamma burst, you can do all the activities in the game. You can do Guardian Takedown, you can do Malawan Takedown, all the slaughters. You probably saw in the intro clip that I was doing the slaughter shaft. Basically AFK, I was just letting my pet do all the work. This build is a lot of fun, guys. You're gonna love it. And again, pet will come and save you in case you do screw up. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon to be notified anytime I post a new video. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Y'all have a great day.